Well, well. We are back again. Um, what's really interesting? It's kind of an interesting thing that we have an opportunity to go live and speak to people that I normally wouldn't get an opportunity to speak to. It's actually a lot of fun just to talk to everybody. And I tend to come in with a different type of topic on a live broadcast than I do when I'm doing my regular podcast. I have two, and usually I kind of come into those with a different type of agenda. I know that people are listening to those, but they usually listen to those after the fact. And in those situations, obviously, there's no feedback, and you don't have an opportunity to find out what people think until after it's released, which is usually, in my case, a day later or sometimes a week later, depending on the type of podcast that I'm talking about. The comedy ones usually come out kind of fast, and the new one, the ones where I talk about serious topics, sometimes I spend a little more time on those because I want to make sure that my thoughts are more put together. On this particular broadcast, what I'm really trying to find out, maybe from people, maybe from you, because I don't know how long I'm going to be on. It depends on how many people are still awake. Uh, because if I'm going to talk to myself, then I might as well basically just do a regular podcast and just record my thoughts and then kind of put them out into the ether. What I wanted to talk about, and hopefully you guys want to talk about it as well, is the fact that a lot of times, especially now with the internet being the way it is, when you have the opportunity to literally sell products and directly to the audience, you can go directly to your quote fans or to an audience, or, you have the ability to do that essentially from your home, depending on what kind of product you're selling. If it's consulting work, you can do that from home. If it's teaching, there's a lot of people right now, a lot of kids right now that are at home and getting taught. So you can do a lot of things from home. But if you try to start a business, and a lot of people are starting businesses or they have dreams that they're trying to pursue, a lot of times people make the mistake of thinking that you think that your friends and family are going to be the thing that puts you over the top. And a lot of times, a lot of people will actually give up on what they're doing and stop doing what they're doing because the people closest to them don't necessarily have their back. And it's a difficult thing to deal with because you would figure, and logic would state, that the people that are the closest to you would be the ones that are going to, support what you're doing. They're the ones that are the closest to you. They're the ones that you actually feel safest with. You feel safe telling your parents what your dream is. If you're a young person, you feel really safe telling your mother or your father or the combination of two what you're dreaming about and what you want to do. And they seem like a safe place. They're the ones. They created you. They fed you. They've housed you. They taught you how to talk. They gave you your name. And with that being the case, you would figure that they would be the ones that would be the most conducive to helping you. They would be the ones that would be the first one right there. Who would do what it took to get you to the next level. The same could be true with your brothers or your sisters. You could tell them, they're the ones that, when that person broke up with you in high school or grade school or whatever, when you were younger, you'd lay on the bed crying, or you sit in the chair all bummed out with some headphones on, listening to that sad music, making it worse for yourself, not realizing you shouldn't be doing that. You should probably be talking to someone. We've all been there. I know what it's like. I used to look out the window. There was a girl that lived on my block, and I was so crazy about it that I was afraid to talk to her, which is weird because at this point in my life, after I got to a certain age, after I started doing comedy, I literally was not afraid to talk to anybody, nor was I intimidated by anyone. But at that point, a young teenage me was scared to talk to her. And she came up to me at a party and asked me to dance. And I was so afraid to talk to her. I literally couldn't say anything. I couldn't say anything. I couldn't even get words to come out of my mouth. Right. And she thought that I didn't like her. And when I tried my best to get up the internal juice to go and talk to her, she had already made the decision that I was somebody that she didn't want to talk to because she thought I didn't like her. So I used to look out the window every morning because she went to school before I did. And I'd watch her walk by, and I'd sit there all bummed out. Right. And I would, I don't know why it happened, but it was almost a cliche where literally sad songs or these love songs would be playing on the radio as she walked by. And I remember one time there was a Stevie Wonder song called Overjoyed that played as she walked by. And I'm looking at the girl that I wanted to be with more than anything in the world. And she just didn't like me because she thought I didn't like her because I was too shy to talk to her. Now, I opened myself up. That's a humiliating experience to be sitting out the window listening to a love song, pining over a girl that you want, that may or may not like you, but thinks you don't like her, so it's over with. And I shared that with my close friends, right? And you feel okay sharing that with your close friends. That was before I had comedy friends who would have mercilessly ridiculed me. They ridiculed me so hard that literally it made me 10 times tougher, to the point where things like that, I would just go, damn, I guess you don't like me. Whatever. And so I was so afraid to talk to her. Hey, Vinny, I was so afraid to talk to her. I'm doing pretty good. I was so afraid to talk to her that I just did. And I related that to my friends, and my friends were so cool that they literally were nice to me and it made me feel good. I felt safe talking to them. Like I said, when you're trying to, we were discussing on, but live cast. Yeah, my live cast the other day, I had a technical problem. Vinny was here yesterday on my, the other time I was doing a live cast, had a technical computer problem and it shut down my live cast. So I couldn't get back on. So I figured I'd just come back Monday. For those of you that heard, that. But what I was talking about basically is how friends and family don't support you. And the story I was telling Vinny was that you feel safe saying, in many cases, you figured on paper, you'd feel safe telling your parents, if you're young, about things that are embarrassing to you. And you feel safe maybe talking to your brother and sister, and in my case, I was talking about a girl that I liked that I ruined it by being too shy. And I felt embarrassed by the way I ruined it. And so I felt comfortable talking to my friends about it. And the idea is that you feel comfortable talking to your friends and to your family, and you figure they're the people that are the closest to you, that love you the most. It's the same thing with a spouse. If you have a bad day at work, or a girlfriend or boyfriend, if you have a bad day at work and you're talking to them, and you feel vulnerable, and at work, you don't want the people at work to know how you feel. You don't want to feel weak or look weak to the people at work. You do not want that under any circumstance. But when you come home, you can tell your spouse or your boyfriend or your girlfriend, you can tell them that you felt like crap and that you felt small, and they can soothe you. That's what you think is going to happen. Unfortunately, those are the situations that they will support you, because it falls in line with what's normal. They can relate to that. They can relate to a bad day. They can relate to loving someone or wanting to be with someone that doesn't want to be with you. They can relate to that. They can relate to those things. But when it comes to something that's out of the ordinary, that's different. When you have a dream or something, that's a little different. Sometimes you tell people you want to do something different than what's normal. They don't like it. It's almost like you're stealing yourself from them. They go, well, you want to go move to other side of the country? Why do you want to move to the other side of the country? Why do you want to do that? We can't see you anymore. But what if the opportunity that's important to you? What if the thing you really want to do in life? What if the thing that means everything to you, your dreams, everything? What if the only way to facilitate that happening is to go to the other side of the country? Then what happens then? Right? You have to go. And it's hard enough to get up the stones to move across the country. Now, I'm not saying this because I did the same thing, because that happened to me. I was living on the East Coast and I wanted to go to the West Coast for a job opportunity. And there were some people that made me feel guilty. You're not going to be able to see the people. You're not going to see the friends. You're not going to see the thing. But what about what's important to me? If you stay with what you're doing at the time and you have a dream, what you were doing at the time is going to give you the results you're getting right now. If you have a dream, you always have to do something bigger, stronger, more difficult. You always have to do something more difficult if you're going to achieve a dream, because most people don't even come close to achieving the dreams that they have for themselves. You just don't. It requires too much effort. It requires sticking to something. It requires not going to that movie because you got to put the money together for that thing you have to pay for. Right? What Vinny says here is being strong and independent enough is necessary in today's life. Exactly. You have to develop the habit of solving problems independently. I agree with you. You are exactly right. You see, you got to understand that I know what it's like to be 3,000 or 3,000 miles away from anybody that I knew at all. I knew no one where I went. I mean, I literally went there with luggage and a buddy of mine who also didn't know anybody. We didn't know anybody. We had no real contacts, did not even have a job lined up. I went there to get something. And as it turned out, it worked out okay because I was able to get a job and learn some new things. I actually came back to the East Coast after about 10 years, a completely different person. But that's the thing that people don't understand. Your friends and family don't hate you. They're not mad at you. They don't want anything bad to happen to you. They really don't. They don't. They're just kind of afraid that you're going to turn into something else. Some of them might actually be jealous. They might actually be jealous. They might not even know that they're jealous, but they see you kind of changing what you're doing. They see you changing what they're doing and they decide, hey. If I'm, this happened to two people that I knew, two friends, close friends. Both of them were heavy. And you don't make fun of somebody for being heavy. You know what I'm saying? Because I still have that problem. I'm working to lose the rest of the weight that I have to lose now. But they were heavy people, okay? And what you notice is, this is the most amazing thing, is Vinny numero dos, second Vinny. What you notice is that one of the friends decided that they wanted to lose weight. The other friend was okay with the way they were, which is fine. But the friend that was trying to lose weight, the other friend was making fun of them, right? You're going to go to the gym? Oh, you're going to get all sweaty? Huh? How was it at the gym? Oh, you only did 5 minutes on the treadmill? See, you say you hurt yourself. Oh, I hurt. Did you hurt your back? See, you shouldn't be doing that. You should just be with me. I had a person that wanted to go to school and somebody that didn't want to go to school. The person that wanted to go to school was trying to achieve something. The other person was okay with where they were, which is fine, but they were ridiculing the other person. Hey, Vinny, what's going on? Vinny 203. What's going on? What we're talking about today, and I wanted to talk about this the other day, but we had a computer problem. How am I doing? I'm doing quite well. How are you doing, good sir? How are both of my Vinnies doing here? I got two here. How are you both doing? That's what I want to know. Because what we're talking about here, what I'm talking about here essentially is how your friends and family, are you doing great? Now, that is great. Good. What I'm talking about basically is how sometimes, no matter what we do, if we have a dream, sometimes the people that are closest to us don't necessarily support what we're doing, right? Now, I don't know if you guys can relate to that, but it's a difficult thing to deal with. It's a difficult thing to deal with. I tried to find out what the situation is with people that necessarily are trying to build something. What I was trying to build at the time was a comedy career. Says Vinny says depending on anyone is okay sometimes. But being over dependent is not right. I never told my parents what I went through. God gave me strength and courage to not only face it but also to study. I was scared. I was never able to raise a voice for myself, which is the biggest mistake I made. If someone is bullied, teased, they should raise their voice. You know what? I can relate to that, Vinny, because I was also bullied in school. I had that problem. I really, really did. There were 4 guys that literally followed me around around high school, and it was almost like it was their job to torture me in school. I mean, they literally followed me around, and the bad part about it was they were in all of my classes. It wasn't even like I had one class to get a break from these idiots, you know. And Vinny says, "When do you podcast every day?" I actually have 2 podcasts, and I podcast one time a week on each one. My second podcast is the S. Anthony Thomas Show. That's on Anchor. And I usually do interviews and comedy on that one. And on this, I have a podcast on Podbean called S. Anthony Says, which is on Podbean, and that's usually recorded. And that one's usually on Mondays. And the other one, the S. Anthony Thomas Show, is usually on Thursdays. And I usually have an interview on that show with a comic or an actor or somebody in the arts or somebody who's an author or something like that. And that one comes out Thursday. So usually it's Mondays and Thursdays. But the thing is, where do I podcast from? Do you mean what state that I podcast from, if that's what you're referring to? The state that I podcast from is city. Well, I'll just put it to you this way, because I've had some difficult things with some listeners. I would just say the state of New Jersey, and I'll leave it at that. I kind of had a problem before with some listeners of my other podcast that got a little too close for comfort. I'll just put it to you that way. And, everything's okay. See, the thing about it is when you broadcast or do anything in the public, and I'm not a famous guy, I'm just a dude who does this. When you do anything in public, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, podcast, videos, you really have no idea who's actually seeing what you're doing. You don't know, because you're on there. You're trying to build a brand, or you're trying to connect with people. Like, that's what I'm trying to do, because I like talking to people. I like, reading what people say. I like to talk to people. I like to meet people. It's fun for me. And the problem is, and I shouldn't say a problem, because 99.9% of the people that listen to you are actually super duper cool. You get good comments, you meet great people, you have fun times and all that kind of stuff. Do I use Twitch? I actually do not use Twitch, because Twitch is more of it's more of kind of a gamer type thing. And I'm not really a gamer per se. I'm a middle-aged person. So when I played games, the last games I played were with my nephews, who are now adult guys now. So they still kind of play video games, but I mean, when I played games, it was like Atari, like Atari 2600 and things of that nature. Yeah. A lot of live casts out there. I know what you're saying. Vinny, my original Vinny, says, I don't want anyone's child to suffer bullying. That's why I'm telling you this. Yeah, I mean, well, you know what? To keep it serious right there when it comes to bullying, Vinny, yeah, I suffered from bullying, and I know what it's like to. I'm going to be really serious here for a second. I know what it's like to literally. I remember I used to go to bed Sunday nights, knowing that I had to go to school on Monday, and it was almost like I didn't want to go to sleep, mainly because I knew when I woke up in the morning, I was going to have to go to that place. That's what it felt like. It was like, oh man, I really couldn't enjoy the second half of Sunday. The first half of Sunday, you wake up in the morning, it's just a nice day. Maybe you go out and hang out with your friends or whatever. Maybe hang out with your family, have some fun out there. But after about 4 or 5 o'clock, when dinner's coming, and when you have dinner with the family, The next thing is maybe watching some TV or something. Or like I said to my second Vinny 203, playing some video games like I did back then. And then you go to bed, and when you wake up, you know where you're going to have to go. You're going to have to. I used to think of the school as a torture palace. Loved learning then, loved learning now. Loved it. But oh my God, I used to think of it as it was a torture palace. And the funny thing about it was I wasn't the only one getting bullied. There was literally a bunch of us who were getting bullied at the same time, And when you're getting bullied, if you're young and you're getting bullied, you really think that it's the end of the world. You think that it's never going to stop. So, I would say to people, and I remember I've had this discussion with some of my some friends that I had and some younger people that I met, just like friends of children of friends and children in the family. And it seems like at the time you're getting bullied, you really think that it's never going to stop. You think that it's going to be like that your entire life, but it really doesn't. After I got out of school and I was an adult, and I realized, you know what, as bad as that was, and it was bad, and I would not want anyone to go through that. You do not want anyone to go through that. It was bad. It was bad, really bad, but you will survive. You will survive it. And when you become an adult, when you get out of there, what will happen is, and then they say it almost in a cliched way. They say things like, it gets better. Well, it does get better. It does get better because when you get on the other side of school, because all school is basically is they really are teaching. I mean, they give you facts, figures, they teach you how to do math, but essentially what school is, they're training you how to learn, because learning is a process that keeps continuing. It never stops. I'm in my early 50s. It never stops. I'm still learning things now, and I love learning things. Mainly because I can learn things without somebody chasing me around the school trying to beat me up. Because I don't mean to laugh, but I laugh because I survived it and I knew how bad it was. And I knew how much it absolutely sucked to go through that. So, like I was saying, I would go to sleep on Sunday and I would wake up and I would walk into that place. And it was almost like it was my job to be a victim. You understand what I'm saying, Vinny? It was almost like it was my job to be a victim. It was like I was punching into work, right? It was their job to chase me around and beat me up or try to beat me up. And it was my job to punch into work to be the victim for these idiots. It's like when you watch those cartoons. I don't know if you've ever seen those cartoons like the Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner cartoons, where there were certain episodes of the cartoon where essentially, obviously, the coyote was trying to catch and eat the Roadrunner. That was the whole idea of the cartoon. And then in the cartoon, you'd see them punch out like they were punching out from work. They go, "Okay, buddy, check you in," and the coyote would punch the clock as if he was done chasing the Roadrunner for the day, and the Roadrunner would punch in, or Bugs Bunny would punch in, or whatever. And it was kind of like that. It was like after school, I would go in one direction, and they would go in another direction. And that was the end of that. And then the next day, I'd punch in for work. And what was my job? To be a victim to these idiots. And they'd punch in, and their job was to torture this guy. Obviously, I wasn't the only one they were mean to. They were mean to a lot of people, but you get the point. And so, like I said, bullying is, it's a horrible thing. And I look back on it and I am so glad. Yeah, it's horrible. I look back on it and I realize, even though, like I said, even though you don't want to be bullied, you don't want to go through that. Hi, Lucy. Hi, Lucy. Lucy just entered the studio. Even though you don't want to go through bullying and being treated badly, you just, I don't know. It made me stronger. Now, I'll be honest with you. I'd rather be stronger another way. I don't want to become stronger in that type of way, but you become stronger. I guess you become stronger basically just by living, because essentially that's why I even started this episode with the premise of essentially just talking about how friends and family won't necessarily support you when it comes time to doing things that are out of the box. or a little bit different. Maybe you're starting a business. Maybe you're trying to lose weight. Maybe you want to move to a different city. And I was just curious about how many people could relate to that. Could relate to the fact that sometimes you have to do things for yourself, and you have to do things by yourself. Hi, Gio Mero. The bad fear, the anxiety which bully person feels inside him. Yeah. I mean, hi, Gio Mero. I don't even understand what the whole situation is with it's this really bad cycle, that just won't stop. Sometimes you're in a situation where you really just have to take care of yourself. I mean, I know that from a personal experience that the world really doesn't owe anybody anything because it's not going to give anybody anything. It sucks. And I think most people that I've run across are actually pretty nice. But I also know that there are times when you go out into the real world, when you get older, you realize you just have to take care of things for yourself. We were talking about bullying, and I was talking about how you can't necessarily expect your friends and family to, support the dreams that you have, And I mean, I don't know. Do you guys? I mean, does that make sense to anybody? That you have to take care of things yourself? Does it make sense that if you're trying to build something, if you're trying to be an entrepreneur, if you're trying to change, if you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to do something a little bit different, a little bit out of the ordinary, that is weird for people, they feel weird around you, they can see you changing. Yeah, Gio, yeah, 100%. They see you changing and they just don't like it. It scares them, because people are creatures of habit. Are you going through that right now? Oh my goodness. So what's are you trying to make a big change and you got your friends? Yeah, you get it. I still remember when I started to lose weight, people were looking at me like, why are you going? Why you don't want to have this lard sandwich? Nope. Oh, your spouse. Before you came on, Gio, that was exactly what I was talking about. I was talking about, and Vinny knows what I'm talking about because Vinny's been in the audience a few times. The spouse sometimes is the one that's the most afraid because they're the ones that invested in you. Your parents, they have a relationship with you where they expect you to grow up and go do something, right? They're always going to be your parents. They're always going to be your parents, but they know just by the parent-child relationship, you're going to go off and do something. You're going to go off and do your own thing. You're not going to be living with them. You're going to go off and do your own thing. Your spouse signs up for the long haul. They sign up and they go, okay, we're in this together. And then you decide you want to run a business, or you decide you want to go back to school, or you decide you want to lose weight, or you decide you want to do something else. And all of a sudden they're going, hey, I didn't sign up for you doing some stuff like that. If you go to school, you're going to spend less time with me. If you lose weight, someone else might look at you, and I don't want someone else looking at my woman. I can't stand it. I don't like it. I remember a girlfriend of mine when I was in my 20s. I got in really good Bruce Lee type shape. When she met me, I was kind of heavy, right? And so I started working out and I got a gym membership. And I started working out. And I was lifting weights. And at first I thought she was upset because I was taking those 2 hours out of time I was going to spend with her. Obviously, we broke up decades ago, but you know what I'm saying. The time I was going to spend with her. So she was mad about that. And I'm going, when I get in shape, I mean, I can actually just go into maintenance workouts and it'll only take me about 45 minutes. And she seemed to be happy with that. But what started to happen was we would walk down the streets together. And it was always people looking at her all the time, right? I was supposed to be okay with guys looking at her behind, right? And they were not dumb enough to say anything while I'm standing right there. But, you could see a guy looking a little bit too hard at your girlfriend, right? And most times I would go, well, yeah, she does look good. I wouldn't get all jealous because, I mean, it's not like they ran over and touched her or something because I knocked their ass out if they did that. But They were looking. But then all of a sudden, I started working out, right? And then all of a sudden, she started seeing people looking at me. Oh, she did. Oh, now all of us, it was a problem now. Oh, now she wasn't complaining about the gym. Oh, no. She was complaining about the fact that I had changed. You're not the same person anymore. Like, yeah, I'm the same person. It's just like a whole lot less of me. Right? She didn't complain about when we were back at the house and, how can I put this politely? When you're not in shape, physically, you're one type of machine. When you're in shape, especially if you're in extremely good shape, not only strength-wise and flexibility-wise, but cardio-wise, you were one type of machine, and now you're how can I put this? You're a finely tuned engine. I mean, have I made my point there? I mean, are we clear on what I'm talking about now? She was happy with the machine the way it was working before. The machine was very, very good the way it was before. The machine worked perfectly. There was no complaints about the machine. Then all of a sudden, right? All of a sudden, your Mustang turns into a Tesla, right? And now, instead of people going, hey, it's a cute Mustang. It's cute. That's okay. It's a cute Mustang. Now all of a sudden, like, that Tesla, I got to get me some of that. And she wasn't exactly happy with that. And I never did anything. I'm not the kind of person that I've never cheated with anybody. I've never done that. I just don't do that. That's not part of my character. But if just as many women are coming up to me to try to give me their phone numbers as guys drooling all over her, all of a sudden, wait a second. What the hell? Right? Here's the thing that was hilarious. She never liked to cook before. But when I started getting in shape, all of a sudden she decided she became queen of the kitchen. Oh, yeah. Hey, I'll cook. Here's some lard sandwiches and double sugar. She started coming at me with the unhealthy food, right? She started to need me around at the time that she started to need me around at the time that I was supposed to go to the gym. Normally at the time she would just be sitting there reading a book, right? And and even if I tried to make a move, when we go to bed, we'll do some stuff when we go to bed, but not right now, right? But, right? So I get it. When Gio Mero said that the spouse, LOL. I mean, is this something that, am I talking out of my butt here? I mean, does this make sense to you guys? What I'm talking about? The simple fact that the person closest to you in many cases, they just, it just astounds me. I mean, I remember when I started doing comedy and I hadn't been on television. I have done national television at this point now. Oh, trying to sabotage. Oh God. It's just the depths that people will go to sabotage. It was almost funny because the bad part about it is a lot of times when your spouse or your friends are trying to sabotage you, even if they're incredibly intelligent people, and I'm surrounded by really, really smart people, when it comes to trying to sabotage you, they just turn into morons. It is the dumbest, weakest attempts. It is the lamest, weakest attempts I've ever seen in my life to try to sabotage somebody. It's embarrassing how bad they were at it. Like I said, she was making, like I said, she almost never cooked. She would always have me bring something over, or she would bring something over to me. But as soon as the first girl, you know what? I'll be honest with you. I have to realize that I forgot to tell you this, and this is the truth. She caught one of her friends staring at my behind. And that's what it was. I just remembered it. I was like, keep in mind, I'm a younger guy. I'm all sliced up like Mr., I'm all cut up. Right. And I didn't know her friends were coming over. And I don't even know why her friends were coming to my apartment in the first place. I guess they were coming over to be with her. She had come over to my place so often that instead of her friends going over to her place to talk to her, they knew she was where I was. So they would just show up unannounced to where I lived. And I put a stop to that after a while because it started getting to the point where they would come over to my place when she wasn't there. They would come when she wasn't there, not to be slick, but because they were going to wait for her. And I'm going, you're going to wait at my house for her? I'm like, no, I mean, and I didn't want to be mean to them. I was like, you know what? I'm on the way out and, well, I'll just stay here and wait for them. I said, no disrespect, but I don't know you like that. And I don't necessarily know, want you hanging around my house. Right. So what happened? That's why I forgot. So I was on like a balcony and I didn't have a shirt on because I was like doing some, how it is when you get in shape. You start doing like, when you get in the mirror, get all full of yourself. You start doing 67,000 push-ups and crunches and crap. Right. So I'm just kind of walking around. I'm looking at the mirror trying to cool off outside. Door opens. I don't think anything of it because I'm thinking it's her. Right. So I turn around and it is her, but it's her friend with her. And I'm thinking her friend dropped her off. And I'm going, hey, and then I say the name of my girlfriend, hey, whatever. They never say her friend's name, right? And I'm trying to get back into the room because I'm not exactly dressed for company, right? I'm expecting anybody. I mean, if your girlfriend walks in when you're when in your boxes with no shirt on, it's not really that big of a deal, So I'm trying to, I'm literally trying to. This is God. I'm embarrassed to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Damn it. So I'm at the balcony. I got boxers on, no shirt, looking like Bruce Lee, except for the fact that I'm not Chinese. I'm a black guy. And I'm about 2 inches taller than he was. So I'm literally, it was almost like a sitcom. So I'm standing there. She comes in. I walk in. I see her, and my girlfriend goes, and her friend's like, okay, so I mean, she didn't say that, but that was the look on her face. So I grabbed the curtain and I literally, there's a glass door to the balcony. I walk to the glass door to the balcony. I put the curtain behind me, walk underneath the curtain to the other side of the room, walk behind the couch, and then I try to walk into the room, which is my bedroom, and I try to open the door. And for some reason, it's stuck. So I'm sitting there like an idiot, spinning the knob like a dope. And my girlfriend's looking at me like, would you get in that room and put some pants on? Would you just sit in there with your shirt off and you put your boxers on? And her girlfriend is just staring at me. And my girlfriend does not notice that her girlfriend is staring at me. I'm trying to open the door. I'm telling you, it was one of those things. You ever have something happen in your life that is so stupid that if it happened in a sitcom, you would go, man, who wrote that? And turn the show off? That was this. So I can't get the door open. And I finally get the door open. And then I put on some clothes. But the thing was, I didn't notice was that her friend was like, staring at your homeboy here in his boxers. And and I came back out, and all of a sudden the conversation got really weird. All of a sudden, this lady who didn't give a crap about any of my story when I was talking to my girlfriend, she was kind of a third wheel. All of a sudden, she gets extra friendly. All of a sudden, she wants to know everything about me. So you understand you're doing comedy shows now? Really, I didn't know you did comedy shows. And I'm going, what the hell is this? We didn't even, I didn't dislike her. She didn't dislike me. But you have people that are around you that, they're I call them bounce friends. They're the friend you hang out with because I will, Vinny. They're the friend that hangs out with you because they're with the other friend. And Gio Mero goes, glad I don't have friends like that. I put it to you that it was really weird. And then she was the one that would, that would show up. And, when my girlfriend at the time wasn't there. Oh yeah, I'll wait for him. Like, you ain't waiting for nothing here. Ew, no. No, 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 no. It wasn't like she wasn't a good looking woman, but if I'm a guy, if I'm in a relationship with a lady and I meet you through her, you're completely off limits permanently. I've already you are moved into the I'm never going to do anything with you shelf. Just like if you're a friend of mine and you have a girlfriend or a wife, I automatically put her on the person I'll never touch under any circumstances. I'll never step to this person. I'll never flirt under any circumstances. I put you right on that shelf. And even if he gets hit by a bus, I'm still not going there. I just can't do it. Unfortunately, this lady did not have those type of rules. And so, and so it was just a weird situation. And, it's just a weird situation to be in. I just don't understand why do people even think about doing that? Why would you even think about taking somebody else's significant other? Why would you even do that? I've had friends. I lived in Hollywood for the 90s, and some of my buddies' girlfriends were like Halle Berry looking women. But once again, once I meet that person through my friend, that person is off limits under all circumstances. It doesn't matter what they look like. It doesn't matter what they do. I'm not touching anything. Thanks for sharing the show, Vinny 203. Once you get to that point, I am not touching anybody. I just can't do it. So it's just an amazing thing to me when you see that, because you'll see it on like a Jerry Springer or those type of shows, and they, I got news for you. What are you going to tell him, John? I don't know how to tell you this, baby. It's very just tell her. Okay, I know how to tell you this, baby, but your sister's 12 kids are all mine. Jerry. It's like, who lives a life like that? You see people living lives like that all the time, and I never understood it. I mean, am I? This sounds like drunk curse voice. Yeah, I mean, you know what I'm saying. I mean, I just don't get it, and I don't understand it. But let me ask you guys, and because we have some people here now, do you ever find yourself in a situation where the people around you, I mean, the people closest to you, I mean, how bad does it get? Have you ever had anybody like Gio Mero said that that a spouse was given a hard time? The spouse is maybe, sometimes you have people try to sabotage you. Do any of you have anybody or had anybody when you were when something was really, really important to you? Maybe it was school. Like I said, maybe you were trying to lose weight. Maybe you were trying to start a business. Maybe you were trying to date somebody and they tried to sabotage you. It seems to be the kind of thing that happens to a lot of folk. It seems to be the kind of thing that happens to a lot of people. Now, Gio, you said that you had somebody that tried to put it in a less blunt way, slow you down. Is that the case? Were you trying to do something? Just your spouse? Were you trying to lose weight? Were you trying to gain muscle? Were you trying to start a business? What were you doing? What were you doing that your spouse tried to get in front of, try to slow down? I need to know. Now, if it's too sensitive, you don't have to say, obviously, but ruin your diet. Rain on your business. Both. Damn. Ruin your diet and rain on your business ventures. Everything. Good Lord. Did they slap the toothbrush out your hand when you're trying to brush your teeth? I'm leaving needless to say. Of course. Ask me why I brush him. Ask me why I brush him that way. So was that bad? It says, Vinny says a lot happens. A lot of people expect to be good turns out the worst. Yeah. A lot of people that you think are going to be good to you turn out to be the worst folks of all time. And I don't know, man. It's one of those things where it kind of makes you wonder whether or not you even want to get married sometimes. You know, you want because they say what do they say? They say what 60% of marriages, was it 50 or 60% of marriages end in divorce, right? Good qualities, horrible personality. Oh my God, that's I should start a band with that name. Vinny says, my uncle, who is my brother's father, asked me if I'm male or a prostitute. So they got real personal with you, huh? I remember it's really weird how, because Vinny was talking about how sometimes your relatives, they have expectations for you, and sometimes if you deviate that from that even a little bit, they just dive in your backside and they won't let up. They won't give you an opportunity to chill. They won't give you an opportunity to just live your life the way you want to live it. Because I'm telling you right now, I've been in relationships where literally 5 minutes in, we got to a situation where like, we were exclusive. Yes, we were exclusive. And it was almost like you ever watch a sitcom or a movie where when the music is dictating and they use the music, the director uses the music to let you know that the person is really evil. You know what I mean? You watch a movie. Hey, I'm so glad you're part of our team. I'm glad I'm part of your team too, guys. I'd never let you down. Tum, 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 tum. You know? Vinny says, absolutely. I'm pretty sure I've never done anything wrong to him. He just mistreated you. Yeah, see, that's the thing. It's relatives and yeah, relatives and spouses. If you have the wrong ones, like I said, they're the ones that are the closest to you. And sometimes, man, it is horrible. Like I was saying with the girl I was going out with, 5 minutes in. I mean, not literally 5 minutes. I'm saying that to make a point, but you know what I'm saying. Early in the relationship, everything was just fantastic. But I'm telling you, I wish in real life that music would actually show up. So when so when a person is evil, we could know. I want that because I know one lady. I'm not even kidding about this. I know one lady. I'm saying I want a song. This lady would have been a damn double album of evil music. That's like there would have been 16 tracks of evil songs that played in the background, orchestra music. You're damn right. The only problem was this lady would have been throwing the instruments at people. She would have used if you had a violin, she'd use it like a bow and arrow, try to kill everybody. It's just like way too jealous. And keep in mind, like I said, I've never cheated on anybody, but she was super duper jealous. It's bad enough to have somebody super duper jealous. If I was the kind of person that cheated on a regular basis, it would kind of make more sense. But I've never cheated. I mean, when I got a girl, I don't look at anybody. It's like if I either want to be with somebody or I don't. And I'm just imagining, So, oh yeah, we're at the restaurant. Yeah, yeah. What do you want, baby? Well, I would like to have, and then she orders this, but the surf and turf and the steak and the thing and the there. And that's Anthony. What do you want? Yeah, well, I would like to get the thing and the thing and that thing and that thing. And the waitress, that's a good choice, sir. Okay, I'm gonna get your stuff. And I'm sitting there. She's like, why that bitch say you got is the good choice? Hey Sal, what's going on? Sal G into the live studio. What's going on, Sal? What's going on, man? Since you're peeking in, basically what we're talking about here is we're just talking about people that are close to you and that listen that basically, try to help you out, but they don't help you out. They try to get in the way. I'll go back to what I was saying though. Why you got that? So I'm sitting there and this is literally, I think this was like a fourth or fifth date. So if this is 4 dates in and she's already using the B word about a lady that didn't do anything, wasn't flirting, just asking me what I wanted to eat, and she was already mad, she's sitting there holding a knife and fork and squeezing it too hard, looking at the woman, right? And that's when that music would come on. I'm looking at her going, do you hear the music? What music? You really don't hear the music. I don't hear any music. Yeah, well, I hear the music. So believe me, I get it, guys. I get it when you're talking about your relatives. Maybe your uncle. You said Vinny was talking about his uncles. Gio, you're talking about your spouse. I get it. Believe me, I can relate. I know what it's like to have those folks near you, really close to you. But you know what I've also seen though, which is, and it's almost like they're weird and you're not. It's like when you see dysfunction and dysfunction is around you, you're kind of used to it. It's normal to you. It's normal to have somebody try to sabotage you. It's normal to have somebody question who you are, you know? Right? Vinny said, Gio says, sad but true. Gaslighting. Gio says that. Vinny says, people, fall to go to any length to show you how evil they are. Exactly. Man, it's weird. But here's the thing, and this is the weirdest thing I had ever seen up until this point. This is the truth. I'm hanging out with some friends of mine, and I was in a bad relationship, man. The one I was telling you about, bad. I don't know why I didn't break up with her. Okay, I know why I didn't break up with her. Let's not. I mean, come on, I'm a guy. You know what I'm saying? But I don't want to get any more specific than that. But you know what I'm saying. A lot of people don't break up for the same reason that I didn't break up. It's like you go from not, doing certain things with someone else to having access to someone else who will do those things, if you understand what I'm saying. And you're going, well, I was going to be, I kind of like doing those, things with someone else. And, I already know this person is not a weirdo, or, they may be mean to me or they may not be nice enough to me. But I don't know if I go out and find somebody else, I might wind up on Dateline NBC. Yes, Anthony Thomas broke up with a girl that was bad with him, and then he went out with another girl. But what he didn't know was that she was a serial killer who kills podcasters and comedians. I don't want to wind up on a show like that. You know what I mean? So, but but you wind up staying with the people because you like, that, what I'm saying? You like do that. And I don't know why I did that. So I go to visit some other people, and I saw, it was like an oasis in the desert. It was a guy I was working with at a comedy club. He was a magician, and he had a wife that was cool. She was beautiful. He was a great looking guy. She was gorgeous. And they genuinely liked each other. I mean, she had seen his act 9,547 quadrillion times, but was still laughing at the jokes. And she was laughing for real. She wasn't, it was not fake laughs to make him happy. She was laughing for real. So I'm thinking they must be newlyweds. They must be newlyweds. There's no way in the world somebody's going to see the same act, the same magic tricks and going to laugh that hard at it. And as it turns out, they were married for 20 years. They genuinely enjoyed each other's company. When she was out of the room, he's extolling her virtues. She's the greatest wife. The kids are great. He's showing me all the pictures and everything. He's got pictures on the right, talking about how great she is. And I'll be honest with you, you got to understand how guys are. If a guy's wife is a pain in the ass to him, and she walks out the room, dudes can't wait. I'm serious. Guys will watch their wife walk down to the bathroom, take another quick peek to make sure she's far enough where she can't hear anything. And literally, the moment she's out of earrings, okay, that's great, honey. She stinks. As soon as she going, she stinks. I hate this relationship. I want to jump out a window. I can't take her anymore. Only reason I'm with her right now is for the kids. She stinks. I can't stand. I'm telling you. And then he sees her coming back, and she stinks. Hey, baby, what's going on? I was just telling Aunt Anthony how great you were. Oh, that's great, baby. He goes to the bathroom, and I'm telling you, women and women are exactly the same way. The second his punk ass got far enough away, she was like, he sucks. I can't stand that bastard. I gave the best years of my life to that piece of crap. And I don't even like my son because he looks like him. And, right? Okay, Vinny. And that's exactly what's happening. That's exactly what goes on with the whole situation. You sit there and you look at that, and you realize that's exactly not as harsh though myself. Yeah. But you know what I'm talking about. As soon as the person is gone, it's like, or if you say not as harsh to yourself, you know what the deal is for women to do that are not hard. The guys are pretty much the same. As soon as she stinks, if he doesn't like it. The ladies will, if they don't want to say anything, if they just are really sweet, I don't want to say anything. They just kind of have a look on their face as if to say, I'm not going to say he stinks, but he stinks. But they don't say anything. Hey, so how's everything going with Bill? Yeah, it's going pretty good. Yeah, it's going pretty good. Soon, if the voice is trailing down when they say pretty good, it means it is not pretty good. And the voice, it's pretty good. Pretty good. That means it is not pretty good. Yeah, exactly. You don't want to admit to failure. That's exactly the same thing. It's really hard to be invested in somebody for that length of time, for such a long period of time, and to admit to failure. Because you always hear that story about, acres of diamonds, and you always have the story about someone who was digging this deep hole looking for diamonds, and then they stopped a little bit too short. 9 years down the tour. Hey, I had a couple that were not quite that long, but it was a couple that were in that vicinity, and it's hard because it's almost like a Rubik's Cube. You think you can fix it, right? Because there'll be time you'll be having a hard time. Everything sucks. Then something outside yourself will happen. Maybe there's a tragedy. Maybe somebody's grandma dies or something like that. Damn near impossible. Yeah, and something will happen, and then you'll get close again, right? And you'll be laughing and joking, and then you'll start doing the couple stuff, if you understand what I'm saying, and it's all great like it was in the beginning, and then all of a sudden the thing that got you back together starts to wear off. It's almost like it's almost like going in a time machine and visiting your younger selves when you first got together. You visit your younger self, and it feels like you get a little bit of that magic. It's almost like it's bad because it will be almost better if the thing that got you back together again like that never happened, because all it does is it hits I need to get away from this person because they're toxic to me. I really need to it's like hitting a snooze alarm on I've got to get rid of this toxic person. Right? And you go back to, quote, sleep, unquote, for a little while. And then all of a sudden you wake up again. You go, oh God, another year. Gio says, true, done left and came back numerous times. Oh my God. What is your record? How many times have you broken up and gone back? I want to see if you did it more than me, because I'm embarrassed by the amount of times. 3. God. I got you beat so bad, this is embarrassing. I broke up with somebody 8 times. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And when I tell you 8 times, you know what I'm thinking of right now when I'm thinking about this? There was an episode of Law and Order where a guy going on the 4th. Well, you got a long way to go. you got a long way to go to catch me. You're out. Yeah. Well, it's just like anything else. It's like they say to fighters in the UFC. If you're thinking about retirement, it's time to retire. Because when you go back into the ring, you don't feel like you don't feel like you're that person anymore. So you're never going to be able to give full effort. And obviously, I'm not talking about your specific relationship, mainly because I don't know if your spouse is like 6'9" with weapons, and I don't want nobody whooping my ass. What did you say to break up? I'm not saying nothing. I'm just listening. Yeah. Have you, but it feels bad. No, he's not violent, but it feels bad, especially if it's not like, I've had a girl that, I don't even know if I should be saying this because I'm going to put this episode out, but screw it. I was I was with this lady and I left. You know what? I think I talked about it on one of my podcasts, so it's okay. I was with this lady and I left some stationery at my house when I was a younger comic, and it had my face on it. Right? It was like, come book this guy, and I would send it out to bookers. And I left the papers at her house because she was closer to in the direction I was going. I went back and I grabbed my papers and I took them because I was like, I'm going to keep bothering her, you know. And thank you, Gio, and for sharing the show. And I get the papers, and I open the box with the papers in it, and I'm pulling out some papers because I'm going to put some stuff on there to send out. And I noticed at the bottom of the box, underneath all the papers, she had written on some of the papers. Well, it wasn't that big of a deal if she wrote on the papers. I would prefer she didn't, but there was so many of them. It was like, if she wanted some scratch paper, that's okay. So I was about to just pull those papers out, ball them up, and throw them in the trash. And then I made the mistake of looking at the papers, and I saw what she wrote on the papers. Keep in mind, I was in my early 20s. She was a little bit older than I was. And you know how it is. I mean, ladies mature faster than dudes do. People think that's a cliche, but it's not. They really do. We catch up eventually. But at that time, I was, and this has been decades and decades and decades. And even now, when I think about it, it's like, ugh, I get sick to my stomach. I pulled the papers out, and she had been practicing a love letter for the dude she was cheating on me with. It wasn't enough that she wrote the love letter. She was practicing it. The love we share. No, that's not good enough. Our intimacy. No, that's not good. I'm sitting there going, she's like writing 5-6 drafts. 5 or 6 drafts of a love letter to somebody else. And I just couldn't believe it because it had my face on the paper. It had my face. So she's literally young me. I think I was like 20, 21, somewhere around there. She was like 28. My face is on the paper. So she's literally looking at my 20-year-old face while writing this love letter to another guy. If only we could be as one. Oh, the stars were aligned with the cosmos. And I laugh at it now. But goodness gracious. I mean, I remember sitting. You ever been so sad and so hurt you literally sat in a chair and stared at a wall and don't realize how much time is going by? I sat in the chair looking at a wall. I was like looking at the wall, and to me, I literally thought that I only looked at the wall for a couple of minutes, and I realized lost in my mind. This will give you an indication. I remember when I sat down in the chair and I saw the note. I remember it was like an episode of Friends had come on, right? And I know in the lineup it was Friends. It was an episode. It was like was it Friends? No. Okay, so that might have made me a little bit later in my 20s. Maybe I was 22, 23, somewhere around there. I know it was in my 20s. So that's how long ago it was. I don't remember the damn decade, but the fact that I remember it was a Friends episode, so that puts it in the 90s. So I sat there. So the way it was going was like Friends was coming on, and then like some other shows came on, and I know that there was a Friends episode, some other sitcom, and then another sitcom came on, and I knew the order because I normally would watch it. When I put my head down, I was like, damn, man. I mean, I felt stupid because I didn't even know she was cheating. I didn't have any indication that she was cheating. But not only had she been cheating, it was almost like, oh, God. Anyway. And I realized that Friends had gone off, which is a half an hour. The show after Friends had gone off, that's an hour. And the show after Friends was going off. So it was almost like 90 minutes of just staring at a wall. And that is I haven't. That was the first time. Yeah, that was the first time I realized that someone could do or say something that was so painful to you as a human being that it could cause physical pain. That's what I'm saying, because that's when you realize, because before that, I had been broken. I mean, everybody had gone through some things and it hurts and everything like that. But it doesn't feel like somebody punched you in the stomach, right? It doesn't make you not effective at your job, right? And that's what happened to me. I was like, it literally, because I had been punched in the stomach before. I mean, not a lot, but I've been punched in the stomach before. And I remember what that felt like. And this felt just like that, which is a weird because obviously there was no one had actually punched me in the stomach, but that's what it felt like. And man, so I can relate. Horrible feeling, exactly. I mean, so I can relate to people that have a situation where everything feels like it's falling apart. But what I do know, and I'm pretty sure it'll be the same thing for you, is once you move away from whatever the toxic thing is, whether it be a person or a situation, just like if you're near something that smells bad, you're in a room that just really, really stinks. It's like, God, this place stinks. But when you leave the room, it kind of smells that way for a while because that smells on your clothes, right? But you go home, you take those clothes off, you throw those clothes in the washing machine, you take a shower, you put on some fresh clothes, and you don't go to that place anymore. All of a sudden, the stink of what you were around, whether it be a person or that room, that smell's not on your clothes anymore. And you don't smell that smell anymore. It's over with. It's done. And now you can smell other stuff like the roses, like some muffins, right? You can smell things that smell good. And now you know what it's like to have a person around you like that, or a situation around you like that, or a job like that, or friends like that, or family like that, which brings me to the reason for this episode. Friends and family won't support you. When you get to a situation where now you know what that looks like. And because you had it going on for such a long period of time, speaking to myself, I know what that type of lady looks like automatically as far as the way they carry themselves. I see all the signs. Like that sign, I saw the signs. I see the signs. And I know immediately I do not, under any circumstances, want to go into that stinky room. I go, let me take a quick sniff. Let me take a look at the situation. Oh, hell no. No. This room's, I can see from right now, this room is going to stink, and I ain't going in there, Jack. And that's basically what I wanted to talk about today. So, Giomero, I just want to thank you for listening to the show, because the show is about to end. I want to thank you very, very much for listening. I appreciate it more than you know. And I plan on being here on Mondays, right somewhere around this time. And I hope I get to see and hear from you again. And I want to thank you very, very much. And I will see you, and to people that are listening to this later on when I'm recording it, thank you too, even though technically you're not here yet because I haven't released this episode, even though I have people listening to it live, but the people that are going to hear this later on, thank you as well. Giomero, thank you, and thank everybody. And I'll see you next time. Take care.